Welcome to Excuse My Frenemy, the podcast where we talk about some of the big topics in sports and where two fans of rival teams try to put their sports allegiances aside, but will probably fail to do so. Thank you for taking time to give us a listen. My name is Shawn Brady, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Katie Cabrera. What is going on, KC?
What is going on, everybody? I mean, it's good to be back. It's another week, and we're another day closer to the holidays, and of course, that means food and presents. We're heading over to the new year of 2022. New year, new me. But what's going on, Shawn?
I'm just wondering if you ended up getting any requests from the fans of present ideas. Because you were soliciting last week.
I was hoping I would get something, but, I think just a lot of people are just kind of, do what you can for right now.
So what I heard out of that is Katie's still not done shopping.
No.
Okay, on this episode, we're going to discuss the NFL. We are going to discuss the tragic death of Deymaryius Thomas. We're going to dive into the MMA UFC 269. And then we're going to end on a lighter note with some bloopers from this year. Because for those that don't know, this is our last episode of 2021. So the next time you hear our lovely voices will be 2022. But before we dive into all that, Katie, breaking news. I heard it on the way home live on the radio. Steph Curry is the new three-point leader all-time in the NBA, hitting his 2,974th three-pointer of his career in the first quarter. And I read he did it in 511 less games than Ray Allen, which, if I'm rounding out math off the top of my head, is about 6 seasons.
Which is correct. I mean, he did it in 789 games versus Allen, who did it in 1,300 games. I mean, this is a legend right here. And to be honest, we're just starting. We are just starting with Curry. So more to come from that guy. I mean, he's not done yet. You can only imagine that he's going to be going up more and more every year, every day as he plays. But this is one for the books, for sure.
Oh, yeah. He's only in his 13th season. And when it comes to NBA players, one of the last things that leaves them is their jump shot. So even if he ends up being a role player on some team, he could still shoot threes for a long time.
Oh, yeah. So definitely.
Okay, so now that we got that breaking news, now let's get to our regularly scheduled program and let's dive into the NFL. KC, what would you like to discuss?
Let's talk about the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks.
Do we have to?
I mean, I know. Yes, we have to.
Oh, okay.
I still have bragging rights, by the way. We saw Wilson come back. And to be honest, this was a game that it was kind of iffy. I mean, ever since they played the Niners, we've been coming back at it. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if just Wilson needed to get his game right on again or make that connection again. But the Seahawks are kind of pulling it together. So the game from Sunday night, it was 33-13. Of course, the Texans, not too much to brag about, 2-11, and the Seahawks are 5-8. But, I mean, it was a great game overall. I mean, I saw a lot of things that I missed, and that's saying about Russell Wilson. I don't know what it was, but he just got his mojo back, and every time he had his hands on the ball, he would just scout out where his key players were, and from the 40-yard line, he would go ahead and pass it all the way to Lockett to the touchdown goal. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, Tyler Lockett made another history with another big game, and we're talking about catching 5 passes in the 142 yards, and he's also scoring in the from 55 yards, going all the way home. I mean, Shawn, did you hear the highlights of this game, or was it just me?
I saw the throw you're talking about. It was pretty impressive. It was like one of them moonshots that Russell Wilson throws all the time. But I got to tell you, first half of that game, I was nervous for you.
Yes.
Because you said last week you didn't know what you were going to do if they lost to the Texans. And the first half of that game, the Texans were still in that game. So I was like, Katie going to need a hotline here in a minute.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just, coach coming to them and being like, are you guys really going to just let the Texans do this to you guys? I don't know what it was, but they turned around that game real quick. I mean, they just blasted off with the 33-13 after that. But I got to say, I was a little bit nervous at the beginning, but after that, it just kind of soothed out. Wilson did his thing. His key players were where he needed them to be. So all I can say is I was extremely happy.
Well, I'm proud for you.
And I kind of want to touch a little bit on your Cardinals too.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's episode of Excuse My Friend.
Oh, that was quick. That was a fact. Dude, do we get a record for the world's quickest episode too? I mean, come on. LA Rams versus Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, I did call it. And guess what? I get lunch. So, go ahead, Brady. What is it that you would like to talk to us about?
Well, not that, but I will address it quickly because it is the professional thing to do. I will say this. We played bad for a game that we wanted. They played very well for a game that they needed. I'm not really that worried in the grand scheme of things because they still only beat us by 7 points.
Very true.
It could have and maybe even should have been worse. But I'm not as upset as I probably should be. But at the beginning of the season, we said, why go 1-1 with every one of our division opponents? I'd be happy. This was the first division game we lost. So I'm happy. Now, if they lose again, I may need the hotline, but there you go.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of all his shabam, all I know is I'm getting a free lunch.
And you know what? That's the part that bothers me the most. Forget the loss. Forget the loss. I gotta fork over money for somebody else's lunch. I should have shut my mouth. This is why I don't bet on sports. This right here is why I don't bet on sports.
So to the audience out there, please take, I would love to hear if you think I should choose Chinese food or Jack in a Box. That's my fat food. Chinese or Jack in a Box? Chinese, Jack in a Box. Or maybe both. We'll see. But all I know is I won.
Yeah, here comes your order of Panda Express. So. Again, we're not promoting Panda Express or Jack in the Box because they're not our sponsors, but opportunities are available if anybody wants to sponsor the show. I'm just saying. Okay, but what I do actually want to talk about, because I did a lot of research on this Sunday night after the game, because it was, to me, the game of the week, was the Bills versus the Bucs, which in itself is a microcosm of the entire Bills season of they're either brilliant or they're garbage. This game, they were both. Bucs win it in OT on a 58-yard touchdown. Brashard Perriman, his only catch of the game. And now the Bucs can clinch the NFC South next week if they beat the Saints. So some of the highlights of this game, speaking of records with Steph Curry, Tom Brady throws his 700th touchdown pass and also became the NFL all-time completions leader in this same game. But Katie, here's the interesting part. You know how Aaron Rodgers says he owns the Bears? Well, Tom Brady owns the Bills. He is now 33-3 against the Bills.
You know, I'm not surprised. Do you want me to say I am surprised or I'm not surprised? But I am.
I'm surprised it's that much. I figured the Bills would get more than 3 wins some point.
Yeah, but...
we're talking 2 decades. They beat them 3 times? And I actually heard this on another podcast today. It was Dan Le Batard's podcast. Apparently, Tom Brady now I can't remember if he's tied or he passed Jerry Rice, but now is either tied or owns the record for most touchdowns scored after the age of 40. Now, and I'm not talking about passes. Like, I carried the ball across the end zone touchdowns. He's either tied with Jerry Rice or has passed Jerry Rice for the most after the age of 40.
I think if I heard correctly, I have to double check, but I think he passed the records of carrying the football all the way down to touchdown. So,
I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, that's basically 3 records he had in one game. Of course, I guess when you play for 50 years, that's what's going to happen. The other thing I want to point out this game, just because of how rare it is, they can't pin this on Jared Allen. At least the Bills. The Bills can't pin it on Jared Allen. He threw for over 300 yards, a couple of touchdowns, but he also had 12 carries for 109 yards. Katie, that's only the 4th time in league history that a player has had 300 passing yards and 100 rushing yards in the same game. You know who the other 3 are?
I actually don't know who they are.
Well, they're all obvious, and you should know one of them. I'll give you the in reverse order. Lamar Jackson did it last year in the playoffs. Cam Newton did it in 2015. And there's another player that did it in 2014. Any guesses?
So in my junior year, what was I doing?
Wow. Junior year. Oh my.
Sorry, I had to bring
That
that
just
back.
hurt.
I don't know if I was watching
Oh,
novelas or if I was doing soccer or if I had a football game to be at because of band. I was stuck in high school, so
that just hurt. I was 14 years graduated from high school. You hurt my soul with
ooh,
that.
we just touched a very touchy subject then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the answer is Russell Wilson.
Wilson.
Yes, I'm surprised you didn't guess him. He was the
Well,
first
I
one to
was
do it in
gonna say my
2014.
beloved Wilson, but you were probably gonna be like, "No, let's think of another game," and I was gonna be like, "Well, I don't know any other game."
That just means I'm keeping you on your toes. Just when you think you know what's coming, I change the questions. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about the NFL because it's kind of a sore subject for me. Anything else you want to discuss from this week?
No, I mean, okay, so yeah, I do want to discuss something. My
Gosh.
beloved Wilson's back. That's it.
Okay, I'll let you have that one. He finally wins and you're happy. Anyway,
And I get free lunch. So
why you gotta bring up old stuff?
sorry. I just want to share one more time. One more time for my haters.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's move on to our predictions for next week. Okay, our first game. We usually don't do Thursday nighters because by the time we get the podcast published, the game's either usually ongoing or over with. But this is such a big matchup, I couldn't help myself, Katie. We got the 9-4 Kansas City Chiefs going into LA to face the Chargers, who are 8-5. I kind of know where you're going. Just go ahead and say it.
Mahomes is going to choke and LA Chargers is going to take it. So, yes, I am going with the West Coast LA Chargers. I know they're 8-5 to 9 for Chiefs being 9-4. Yep. This is going to be another win for the LA Chargers, making them 9-5 and the Chiefs being 9-5. So, Shawn, what is yours?
Well, yeah, on a short week, usually I go with the team that's probably got better defense. In this case, the better defense is the Kansas City Chiefs because they have apparently turned it around, and I wasn't all that impressed with the defense for the Chargers from last week. So on a short week, I'll go ahead and take the Chiefs, which hurts me to say because my man Justin Herbert, I want him to win, but I don't see it doing him this week.
All right.
Okay, next game, which I also know which one you're picking, is a Saturday NFL edition. That's right, folks. They're going to Saturday and Sunday from now to the end of the year, I think. The 9-4 Patriots are going into Indianapolis to face the 7-6 Colts. KC, who you got?
It ain't the Colts. It's going to be the Patriots, my beloved Patriots. This is going to be another win for them. Shawn?
Yeah, Patriots. Like Colts,
See?
I'm surprised that they're 7-6 the way they were looking at the beginning of the year. I think they had a rough early part of the schedule. Then they've put some wins together, but I still don't think they're any different than anybody else in that little jumbled up mess that is the AFC, whereas I think the Patriots kind of are different. So give me the Patriots.
Yep. Yes. Ooh.
The next game, the 10-3 Arizona Cardinals are going into Detroit to face the 1-11 Detroit Lions. I remind you, Katie, if the Cardinals win this game, they not only go undefeated on the road, but if they win by double digits, they'll be the first team in NFL history to win 7 games on the road by double digits. So, Casey, who you got?
Am I reading this correct about the Detroit?
Their record?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1-11. Actually, I think they're 1-11-1 because they tied the Steelers. But yeah, they've had one win all year.
Well, it's going to be a big shocker for everybody in the audience, but I'm going to give this to Detroit.
You're fired.
No, I'm kidding. I'm going for the Cardinals. Are you kidding me? But imagine, oh my God, if Detroit gets a second win.
This week is how you were with the Seahawks last week with the Texans. If they lose this game, I'm going to need a hotline.
No, you're gonna get this one. I mean, the Cardinals got it under the bag with that kind of win streak and stuff, and they know what they're doing. Besides last week when you owed me lunch, Detroit's gonna be destroyed. So,
well, we know what we're doing on the road, which is weird to say because maybe we don't want the number 1 seed in the NFC because we play better on the road apparently. Yeah. Our next game, The 5-8 Seahawks are going into LA to face the 9-4 Rams. Your conscience and your soul is being tugged in so many different directions as we speak. But Katie, who you got?
My heart wants to say, let's go Hawks. But my soul is like, girl, you know damn well you from the West Coast. You better say LA. For all of my West Coast people listening, I do want to apologize. I am not going to be there with you guys. I will be with my beloved Seahawks rooting them on because Seahawks is about to whoop that ass. So, the Seahawks it is. Shawn.
Well, I want to agree with you because I would love nothing more than for the Rams to lose and the Cardinals to win to give us our 2-game lead in the division again. But I don't see it. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Because the one thing the Rams showed the Cardinals is they need work on their offensive line. And the last time I checked, Seattle hasn't had a decent offensive line in about 2 decades. So, Russell Wilson, I hope your hand is good because I hope your legs are better because it's going to be a shooting gallery. So, give me the Rams.
Got you.
And our final game, which is probably clearly the game of the week, especially after what happened on Monday night. The 10-3 Green Bay Packers are going into Tampa to face Tom Brady and the 10-3 Buccaneers. Katie, who you got?
The Buccaneers, of course. Aaron Rodgers can go somewhere else. I will take the Buccaneers on. Tom Brady's bringing this home, baby. I mean, and they ain't got nothing on the Buccaneers. So, who you got, Shawn?
I got the Bucs too.
But
what? But I admit it is more heart than head because I like you. I don't want to see Green Bay win. I just don't, especially after the way we lost that game to them. I want to be ahead of them in the standings because tie goes to them. So only way of us to get ahead of Green Bay is to actually have Tampa beat them. I wish both teams could lose, but we've proven that's not really going to happen. But yeah, go ahead, give me the Bucs.
I was not expecting that. So
neither was I. I just couldn't bring myself to pick the Packers.
All right. I mean, that's fine, but
I'm still mentally wounded from the way we lost to them. So yeah.
I understand.
Okay, now that we are done with this week in the NFL, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic.
Can we talk about something else?
Okay, our next topic, we're going to get a little more serious now. We're going to talk about the tragic death of Deymaryius Thomas. The former NFL wide receiver was found dead in his home last Thursday night. He was 33 years old, and he would have been 34 on Christmas. From what I understand, the authorities think he may have died from a medical issue. His cousin, who he basically grew up with, almost like a sister, has said that she believes that he died from a seizure while he was home alone. Apparently, he had been suffering from seizures ever since he had a car accident in 2019 that led to lingering neurological effects. He played for Georgia Tech in college, probably one of the best players to come out of that program. Him and Calvin Johnson, the only two I can think of off the top of my head. And he was an exceptional wide receiver in college because Georgia Tech, as you know, Katie, they're known for running the triple option.
Right.
So he didn't have a ton of catches. He only had 120, but he had like over 2,000 yards in college and 15 touchdowns, and that was still good enough for him to be the first wide receiver taken in the draft. So
wow. Yeah,
the talent was there, even though he played on a run-heavy offense. He played for mostly the Broncos, but did have stints with the Texans, the Patriots, and the Jets, although he never actually played for the Patriots. I think he was cut before the season start. Finishes his 10-year career with regular and postseason stats of 777 receptions, over 10,000 yards, 69 touchdowns, a 5-time Pro Bowler, and only one of 3 players to have 1,400 receiving yards and 10 receiving touchdowns in 3 straight seasons. He's second all-time in Broncos receiving yards and touchdowns. And even though he didn't play in 2020, he didn't actually officially retire until this past June. Casey, what are your thoughts on this tragedy?
You know, when I first heard about his death, he was young. He would have turned 34, like you said, on Christmas. He was only 33 years old. A lot of life ahead of him that he had. And of course, he did play remarkable that time with the Broncos. It's just sad. It's terrible. It's sad, and of course, that's why it's very, very important for key players and just for everyone in general to make sure their health is good no matter what.
Yeah, and he was an icon for the Denver Broncos organization. Probably his most memorable play, I think 99% of the world would agree, was the overtime game between the Broncos and the Steelers, where Tim Tebow hits him on the first play of overtime for an 80-yard touchdown pass to win it. And to date, it's still not only the fastest ending in an overtime game in NFL history, but it's also the longest overtime touchdown in postseason history. So,
wow. Yeah.
And what I specifically remember about that play is the commentators continuously said the Broncos have run the ball on every single first down without fail. First play of overtime, little play action, hits Deymaryius Thomas on a slant, and he takes it to the house. It was stunning, but it was also one of those awesome stunnings. Like, it was great. And I don't know if you heard this, Katie, but the Broncos took some time to honor him before the game this weekend. They had a moment of silence before the game, and they played a tribute video. But the thing I think was the biggest thing was the first play of the game. They went out in the huddle, and they lined up with only 10 men in formation, took a delay of game penalty, almost like a missing man salute. And the Lions, in a classy move, also declined the penalty. And then the Broncos went on to win the game 38-10, and many Broncos players are saying that Thomas was with them that day.
Oh, yeah. No, it was definitely a tragic news, especially he touched many hearts of many, so.
He was part of that big dynasty that the Broncos had for those last few years of Peyton Manning's career. He was one of the best receivers. I think he even caught Peyton Manning's record-breaking touchdown pass, or at least it was a record at the time. It's since been broken. But Peyton Manning broke the record for most passes. He threw it to Demarius Thomas.
Wow.
So, yeah, gone too soon. Rest in peace, Demarius Thomas, number 88 for the Denver Broncos. You will be missed.
To all of my MMA fighters, I know we had a big match this past Saturday, and if you have not heard it, well, you're hearing it now. The Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes. And let me tell you the truth, I wasn't so much pleased with this fight. All I know is in the second round, Pena won Nunes by she kind of locked her foot in a way and grabbed her and slipped her under and was able to kind of choke her out until she tapped out. And to be honest, you could see from the audience how disappointed this fight was. I mean, Nunes is known to be a beast. If anything, we were just talking about it, how she had destroyed Cyborg at the beginning when she first started. But to only last 2 rounds for Nunes, it's something else. And I was, as you watched the whole entire fight, you kind of see Pena just running around the ring a little bit, just waiting for Nunes to gas out. And there's parts where she just gasses out because Nunes is trying to reach over, trying to get her. And, she's not really hooking on right. I don't know if her mind was just not into the fight or if something was off, but you could tell how quickly she got just tired, and Pena just took a huge advantage of it. And it was just during that fall that she caught Nunes off guard and managed to get around her neck and waited for her to tap out. So, I mean, to me, this was a very disappointing fight. Not one of the best fights that I've seen, but I expected so much more from Nunes. And in reality, like I told Shawn, like I was heartbroken. I was a very heartbroken girl this week.
Okay,
Shawn.
so to be clear, you're disappointed in the fight mainly because you're a Nunes fan, not because of the result of the fight?
Yes, because I'm a Nunes fan, but also because I'm actually disappointed of the fight. The fight wasn't all that great. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more, especially with, 2 of the top women fighters. I expected a lot more hits. I expected a little bit more technique. I expected a little bit more, kind of more blood. And that's not what we got.
Okay, yeah, I asked that because like everything I've read about this is like this was a great fight, but at the same time, I'm hearing that it's a great fight because of the upset value, not necessarily because of the actual fight. That's why I asked you that question because everything I'm reading is like, oh, it's a great fight, but in my brain, I'm like, but if it was the other way around, would you still call it a great fight? Because I did see the last couple seconds of it on YouTube, but she didn't look all that great. So the other question I have for
No.
you, because is you said Nunes seemed kind of fatigued. Do you think it's because she just took Pena lightly and maybe wasn't trained up enough?
So that's a question that comes up into my mind because I know that Nunez at the beginning when she was doing the weigh-ins and the conferences she would had a lot of confidence that like Pena like talk all this sorry, excuse my language. Pena just, shut up. It's I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm coming for you. And Pena was just like, you know what? We're just gonna just resolve this in the ring. I am taking you out, like you take out a lot of the big ones, like you say. And she did complete what she said. But I don't know. Usually when Nunez comes into a ring, you can feel that vibe energy that she's coming off on. It's kind of like a Canelo fight. Like you could definitely see his vibe. He's mentally there when he gets in the ring. It's all about the fight. It's all about his opponent. It's about taking him down. It's about that goal. And Nunez is the same way, but this time Nunez was just like, yeah, I'm in the ring. I'm going for you. I can't reach you. I'm getting tired. Something's wrong. And she got me on the floor and let me tap out. So I
Okay.
definitely think something was up. I don't know entirely. I want to read more into it, but I mean, even after the fight, Nunes hasn't really released anything, no comments after and stuff. So I'm definitely waiting for her time to kind of like, yeah, you know what, this is that. Just good game with Pena, good fight, but it was just not my time that day.
Yeah, because I have to ask these questions because, as you know, I'm not the biggest MMA fighter. Like, I know
Mhm.
the big names, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the non-basketball fan still
Oh yeah.
knows who LeBron is. That's kind of how I am with MMA. Like, I know Ronda Rousey, I knew Chris Cyborg, and I knew Nunez, but I only knew her because she stunned Cyborg. So other than
Right.
that, I didn't really know much about her. So that's why I had to ask all these questions. But yeah, so I wonder if this will elevate Pena because I do notice a lot of trend, especially on the women's side. You knock down the queen of the hill, so to speak. Whoever does the knocking off of the hill tends to elevate their career after that. Like
Oh
Holly
yeah.
Holm got her career got elevated for beating Rousey. Cyborg was dominating people until Nunes, and now Nunes was the queen, so to speak. So I'm wondering if this is kind of a stepping stone for Pena to get like that.
Definitely, but as a fan coming out, it's like you said when Holmes took down Rousey, that was a takedown. That was a complete I got you where I
Oh,
want
she
you.
kicked her head off.
Yeah,
I
and
was to this day I was shocked when I saw that.
oh yeah, and that was a good fight. I mean, that was not a boring fight to watch at all. There was so much technique, and Holmes just was just like, you know what, girl, I got you. All the things you had said past in our conferences, it leads up to this moment right here where I'm gonna take your crown. And this fight didn't really feel like that. It just felt like Pena just, I'll say it, kind of got lucky. It was just her
Oh,
off.
I thought you were gonna say came out of nowhere, but you went with the luck. Okay.
Yeah, so I definitely want to see a rematch between these two again. It's not over. I think, yeah, you're right. Pena will get a little bit more, fame out of this, but Nunes is still not out. And as you could tell, a lot of disappointment on the fans. If you focus on the fans, they're kind of like, yeah, this is not her fight. So
Well, I'm surprised you say it lucky because I mean she did make her submit. Like usually when you hear about a fighter getting lucky, it's like they catch the perfect punch or the perfect kick, and that put them. She actually just made her submit, which to me, as a fighter,
mhm.
I'm not a fighter, but I've always heard fighters would much rather get knocked out than have to submit. So
Right.
like luck, I think is kind of a strong word because she won by submission.
She did. I'll give her that. However, once again, it's just the way she made Nunez submit. It's different. I mean, it's she got a good foot. She had her technique good where she slipped her under and down went Nunes and she just pinned Nunes down and that's where it was. But I don't know. It even during that pin, it didn't even seem like Nunes was putting up a fight. It was just like, okay, I'm here for like 10 to 15 seconds and tap, tap, tap. Cool. Fight over. Good game. Congrats. I'm heading home.
Okay, and speaking of submissions, and I want to touch on this one too because I think this was the main event of the card.
Very true.
And stop me if I butcher these names, Katie. I'm going to try. Charles Oliveira. Okay, defeated Dustin Poirier.
Yes.
Close enough?
You're saying it better than I would. Yep.
Okay, as long as I'm in the wheelhouse. Okay. So Oliveira beat Poirier in the third round by submission to keep his title. But the reason I want to bring this up because I saw a clip shortly after this where through an interpreter, Poirier approached Oliveira and basically said, hey, I want to donate $20,000 to a charity of your choice. And I thought that was a very classy move because most of the time when people think of these MMA fighters, they think of we hate each other. Now, we may have respect each other, but we hate each other right then and there. Before they even had the hands raised, he went over there and like you could tell he had this on his mind that he knew Oliveira's hometown is suffering a little bit, so he wanted to do something to help, and much respect for that. I mean, it was grace in defeat, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that fight and particularly that gesture.
Actually, this is the first time I hear about that gesture. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was a little upset about the Nunes, turned off the TV, and...
Okay, so you didn't even see the fight. Good
no,
topic.
Not even the main event. But, I mean, as a fighter, it is it's a very gentle gesture for someone to come up and be like, out of your choice and words, what charity would you want me to donate to? And, it speaks highly of the donator, and it also speaks highly of the person that he's asking. So... did he ever end up saying who he gave the donation to? He
said to a charity of his choice. I think when I saw the video, he was initially saying his hometown, but I think he kind of adjusted to say, hey, I'm just going to give you $20,000. You can send it wherever you want, whether charity, your hometown. He left it up to Oliveira to decide where the money was going, basically.
Oh, wow. Has Oliveira said anything about it?
Well, they were hugging it out. Again, this is all through interpreter.
Right.
But he was hugging it out. He was thanking him. So, that's about all I've seen. I haven't heard anything since, but I saw that video, and I thought that was just a classy move, so I wanted to make sure we brought that up.
Okay. You don't see that a lot. That's all I'm going to say. You don't really much see someone just walk down to him and be like, here, you know what? I think you're an amazing person, and I want to give you the option to donate $20K over to anywhere you think is necessity. So, kudos to Oliveira, and also kudos to the man who did that. So
you're really gonna try not to pronounce his name, aren't you?
No.
Trust me, I had to watch videos to learn how to pronounce both names.
That would be another blooper.
Speaking of bloopers, good segue, partner. We're gonna move on to our next segment, which is the final segment of 2021. Okay, folks, now it's time to have a little fun because after all, this is the last segment between me and Katie having a holiday break. So we're going to take a look back at our short but exciting history of our show, and we're going to do some bloopers. And we actually got this idea from my wife because she heard it, me recording something, and something funny had happened, and I had her listen on the headphones. She goes, you guys should make a blooper episode. Well... we had enough bloopers to make a whole episode, but we didn't think we wanted to go that far with it, so we just did a segment instead. So, get some things out of the way right now. None of these bloopers is a dog barking, because we know you guys can hear that in some of our podcasts, because we do this at our home and we have very thin walls. There's no mispronunciation of words, because that would also take forever. And... really nothing from the outside from what I can remember. Maybe I messed this up a little bit. But really it's just us either not paying attention to each other or us just basically making jackasses of ourselves which means our suffering is your entertainment. And all, by the way, some of these ended up making the final cuts of the episodes, but some of them did not. So here we go, Katie. So, Katie, you know how they always say you never forget your first time, right? Well, in this case, you can never forget your first blooper. And our first blooper, was specifically my first blooper, happened about 5 seconds into the history of this podcast. I couldn't even get the intro down. Are you ready? And Katie was more than a professional partner in this, by the way. I want to thank her up front for being so nice about my very first blooper. But here we go. Thank you for taking us the time to get... Hold on. Thank you, Katie.
You know, it's my pleasure, Shawn, because I honestly remember that like it was just yesterday. It was just an off day, and it kind of felt like you built that confidence, and you were just like, "Da!" And then you went, "Meow."
Yeah, it was the first sentence of the first episode of the first day. We did not get off on a good foot. Okay, moving on to the next one. And I just titled this one, Shawn Forgets How to Listen. And the context of this is we were picking who we were going to have the AL wildcard race. And let's just say Katie made her choices while I was also trying to take some notes. And I just wasn't listening.
I'm going to say the New York Yankees is going to be one of them for sure. And then it's a really tough one between the Bostons and Toronto. So, you know what? I'm just going to pick the odds. Toronto. That's who I'm going to give it to.
Okay. What about the second one?
For the second one, AL Central?
No, the wild card. You said Toronto's getting one of them.
Right. And then Yankees.
Oh, you said the Yankees?
Yeah.
Oh, you said Toronto's getting the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, so I just wasn't listening. My bad.
No, you're good. All I said was New York Yankees will be my first top pick, and then I'm going to give you the odds. I'm going to give it to Toronto.
No wonder you looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about?
Like you said, Shawn, if only people could just look at the videos, because I was like, the Yankees and the Toronto. So
and I love how I was just so confident of the second wild card. Like,
I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I gave it to you.
Yep. Yeah, that was not my brightest moment. All right, Katie, but you're not above the bloopers either.
I figured you were gonna come after me sooner or later, so let me have it. Let me have it.
Okay, so the background of this one is we do edit the recordings that we put out there, but our recordings are done live in one fell swoop. So sometimes we like stop, but even though we're still recording, we stop and do something. And I think this was a time when I was like taking a few minutes to look something up. And I guess Katie had forgotten that we were live, because all of a sudden this is what I heard.
Bum, 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 bum. Halloween is coming up. What are your thoughts of it? Oh, we're back. That does sound... Oh my god. I think I was just in the moment where it was just like, all right, cool. Halloween's coming out. I'm feeling the vibe. I'm over here, making it sure that you knew about it. I just didn't know we were live. Or I forgot we're just live 24 hours.
I just like the fact that you're like, oh, we're back. Like we never leave.
You're like, no, we're just on until it ends.
The next one, I'm not taking full blame on this, and I'll explain why after I play it. But when I was describing who's playing the Super Bowl halftime show, I significantly messed up one of the artists' names, and I was so disappointed in myself. And I not only did it once, I did it twice. So here you go. Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Mary K. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. Like I said, numerous Grammys here. Mary K. Blige is nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, Katie, who is Mary K. Blige?
I don't know. I mean, you kind of busted a Katie where you just make up your own words. So, I mean, do I blame you? No.
Like, I didn't even catch it. I texted you as I was editing saying, you let me say Mary K. Blige.
But the confidence.
I was so ashamed. My apologies to Mary J. Blige. Miss Blige, my sincerest apologies. And Katie, I'm mad at you for not correcting me.
But the confidence he had. I sorry, Shawn. I just had to let you have that one.
Yeah, set me up for failure. I see how it is. Okay, the next one. So we reference a lot of like how old I am on the show, but I'm not really old. It's just Katie's that young, so I feel old. But on this one, I felt really old when Katie asked me about the Lion King.
Oh God. When was The Lion King made? Was it back in 2016?
Oh, that was in the 90s. The Lion King? Oh, the new Lion King. I'm sorry, the new Lion King. Again, I'm showing my age.
Ladies and
yeah, I got nothing for you as far as the new Lion King, but it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, I meant the animated version from way back in the 90s.
Yeah, I can only imagine what the video was where you told me it was back in the 90s, and I looked at you and I'm like, the live one.
Yeah, because we were talking about the Super Bowl halftime show, and you were referencing a fairly recent halftime show. So when you said the Lion King, my brain was like, why would she ask about the Lion King? That was in the 90s. Like, I completely forgot for a moment that there was a brand new Lion King.
Oh, man, that was good. I was kind of like, okay, Shawn, take the dad out of you and remember the new live upcoming one. I think we were talking about Beyonce or something.
So the sad thing about that is the old Lion King, I was not a dad, and the new Lion King, I was a dad, so I couldn't even blame it on that.
Wow. Okay.
So thanks for trying to help me out, but no, that doesn't fly.
Yeah.
So moving on. So when we do these, folks, sometimes we send out the topics to each other, and there's a delay or whatever ends up happening where we end up recording a night later than what we initially had sent out. Well, that happened during the World Series. We had initially planned on talking about the World Series after Game 5, but before Game 6. But because something came up, we didn't end up getting to talk about it until after Game 6, which the Braves had won. Apparently, Katie missed that message. So, KC, what were your thoughts on the World Series?
I mean, I still have Braves back. I still believe that the Braves are still going to take home the World Series, but in all honesty,
Katie, they already won. That's what,
What?
I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. They already won. We had to redo all of that because they won last night.
Son of a bitch. No comment. No comment. That's just all in that direct. Oh God. No comment.
Again, folks, I wish you could have seen her face because she was like, "What?" And we had to redo the whole take.
No comment.
But that's not your only one, Katie. Because as much as I did not listen to you during the baseball wildcard selections, there was one particular time where you didn't listen to me. And I will give you the benefit of doubt. I had sent the list of games we were going to predict beforehand, and then a team had won Monday night, which made the following week a more compelling game. So, but I told you at the beginning, we're changing one of the games to pick to something else. And you still went off the old piece of paper. Because the next game is the 7-2 Dallas Cowboys going into Arrowhead to face the 6-4 Kansas City Chiefs. Who you got, Katie?
I hope the Vikings whoop the Packers' ass. But
wow, you didn't listen to anything I said.
Wait, what?
I said the 7-2 Dallas Cowboys because I changed one.
Oh.
Yeah. My favorite part of that one is the wait, what?
Once again, no comment.
I just like how you're like, I'm gonna pick my own game. The hell with the structure.
Yeah.
But you were motivated by that pick that wasn't supposed to happen. You were in your feelings on that one.
I just, that's a Katie moment. Everybody, I just want you to know I have my Katie moments.
Okay. Speaking of Katie moments, this next one is my by far most favorite one out of this whole list. So we were discussing Thanksgiving food, and you decided to let me and the world know how much you loved mashed potatoes. And here is what you came up with.
Chubby cheeks, like my mouth was like, I can't, yeah, mashed potato. Yeah. That was it. What?
You were describing how much you love mashed potatoes, and as you were a kid at home, you were like, mashed potato.
Sometimes I wonder what really goes through my head.
That was by far my most favorite one. Okay, now for we picked on you enough. Let's come back to my shame. And this was actually not that long ago. This is like week before last, where I'd watched the Ravens and the Browns play the game, and somehow I must have thought the Browns were playing themselves, because I'm going to tell you right now in this entire clip I'm about to play, I meant to say the Browns twice. All the other times you hear the word Browns, I meant to say Ravens. But listen to how many times I say the Browns. The Browns won the game 16-10. The Browns were clearly the better team, and the Browns had no business being in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But the Browns weren't playing great. In fact, they weren't playing good at all, and they were still just dominating the Browns. So, end result, Browns end up taking the top spot in the AFC for now, because that's a revolving door apparently now. And the next week, the Browns get to go to Pittsburgh. But you'll never guess who the Ravens get to go to Pittsburgh next week. For those that were not keeping count, I mistakenly said Browns 8 times when I meant to say Ravens.
Wow. I didn't, when we last talked about this, I didn't think it was that many times, but just Browns were just your top ones.
And the worst part is I start out with the Browns win the game and the Browns are ahead of the AFC. The Browns didn't win the game and they were not part of the
Oh no.
It was terrible. And the worst part is I didn't even notice it until I went to go edit. And I'm like, what the hell am I talking about? I had to play it about 4 times to realize, oh, I was saying the wrong team.
Wow. By far my favorite blooper right now.
As it should be, because that was 8 screw-ups in one. And I was so mad because I had to edit it to where I actually sounded smart, but I had to take out like 75% of my take.
Oh, man.
Okay, and our final one was, I believe, just last week, but I couldn't let it go by because it has become popular, at least in our inner circle, of Katie's horns. And you didn't come through on this one, Katie. Let's just say that. On to our next topic, college football, and more specifically, what was that? Either commit to the horns or don't do them at all. Don't give me that sad mark at the end. What was that?
The sounds of college football. That's what it was. Every time I hear college football, all I hear is my sad horns. And
the worst part is you like college football more than I do.
I know, but that was when USC was like USC. But
no, that was the college football playoff announcement. That was like last week.
Oh, God.
Okay, folks, that is our episode for today. I hope you like it. KC, we already said you didn't get your Christmas shopping done, but you plan on doing that before now and the Christmas, right?
Yeah, I definitely got to get my stuff together and get this Christmas shopping off my list. To be honest, thank God for my fiance for already taking care of majority of it, but I got to get her stuff going on too. So
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay, folks. Yeah, we'll see you in 2022. When we come back, we'll know who won the college football championship. We'll know who's in the NFL playoffs, and we'll probably be doing some smack talking because it'll be right after the Cardinals and Seahawks play for the last time. So 2022 is going to be a big year. We got the Winter Olympics. We got the World Cup, which, by the way, did you know they rescheduled the World Cup to November and December?
No, and that's a terrible time.
Well, not considering where they're playing.
Where?
They're playing in Qatar or however it's pronounced. It is so hot that in June that they've pushed it back to where it's going to be in November and December.
It doesn't make a difference.
Qatar in June, it makes a difference.
And are you serious?
So
it's just hot out there.
This time next year, we're going to be celebrating the World Cup.
You know what? I'm excited for this. You're right. But, and leaving it on that note, guys, thank you for a blissful 2021. I definitely want to tell you guys, please enjoy your family, loved ones. Enjoy the food that's coming, because we all know once January starts, new year, new me, who this, what phone number, new person,
No,
I'm
just
still
new me, new meal. That's all that happens.
I'm still waiting for my lunch. So
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted me to finish out the show on that? No, you could finish the show then. You want your lunch?
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to find us, you ever want to talk to us during this 2-week break, you know where to find us. On Twitter, you can find me at Katie17287. Shawn, where can they find you, sir?
They could find me on Twitter at IOKatie apparently. No, I'm kidding. No, you can find me at Shawn_Brady82. I would say you could find us at Excuse My Frenemy on Twitter, but like I said, this is last show of the year, so we may not be monitoring that one very much. But by all means, feel free to send it. Just don't expect a quick reply.
No, do not. But I mean, if you guys finally drop some hints of what presents you want me to get, I mean, I could take that into consideration. But otherwise, I shall see y'all in 2022. Shawn, I am signing out.
Okay, Katie. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to you and to everybody that listens to us.
Woo!